Hello, good evening and welcome to NTA Nationwide. Kene Emma Aborike is my name. Chief Justice of Nigeria has called for greater financial accountability in the nation's judiciary as a way of stemming allegations of corruption in the third area of government. The call came in his message to the opening of this year's National Seminar for Financial Administration in the nation's judiciary. Femi Okewo reports.
There are two major levels of corruption allegations in the nation's judiciary. The first is the claim of inducement of judicial officers who make judicial pronouncements, while the second is the way financial resources allotted to that arm of government are managed. Over the years, the nation's judiciary has worked to check this trend through disciplinary measures and preventive procedures. One of such preventive measures is the workshop which is being held for top directors, managers and internal auditors of all courts, both at the national and state levels. This is why the Chief Justice of Nigeria in his message called for upright conduct by this category of judicial workers.
It is important to emphasize that corruption in all its forms and ramifications must be eschewed by you and officers under your supervision. As accounting officers, you are personally responsible for the public funds and property committed to your care.
The workshop is being organized by the National Judicial Institute, the Apex Training Institute for the Judiciary in Nigeria. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
The number of All Progressives Congress APC has continued to increase in Ebonyi State. Uche Chukwuchibweze reports that the new members of high pedigree were formally received by the national chairman Adams Oshomole in a mega rally in the state.
Addressing APC faithful in Ebonyi State, the national chairman of All Progressive Congress Party, Comrade Adams Oshomole, who said he was of high spirit, seeing the mammoth crowd who trooped out to not only show solidarity, but make an effort to sustain the good leadership of President Buhari, enjoined the people to continue supporting All Progressive Congress Party.
A government at all levels, including federal government and state government, must fulfill their obligation to protect lives and property, regardless of your ethnic origin, regardless of your religion, and regardless of your social class status. We resolved, we remain committed to those, and we continue to work for the people of Nigeria.
The Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Obonayono, the Chairman of Education and former Governor of Abia State, Dr. Oju Zokalo, the APC Chairman in Ebonyi State, Pastor Eze Nwachukwu, and the former Governor of Ebonyi State, Chief Martin Elechi, among other party stalwarts, extolled the exemplary leadership of President Buhari, which they said has been very beneficial to the people of the Southeast Zone. They expressed no doubt that APC will emerge victorious in the 2019 general elections.
Enugu Road, the Enugu-Port Harcourt Road. This was in 16 years, but in 3 years, work is going day after day on this road by the APC administration.
Speaking on behalf of other new entrants into the party, Senator Sonny Obuoji expressed happiness for the warm welcome accorded them, while stressing that it is time for APC to take over the leadership of Ebonyi State in order to effect the much-desired changes. High point of the event was the formal reception of the new members by Comrade Adams Oshomole. In Abakaliki, Uche Chukwuchibweze, NTA News.
Pro-tem National Chairman of the Sustainable National Party, SMP, Kayode Michael Arimoro, has emerged substantive national chairman. This was at the party's maiden national convention in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
23 national officers of the party emerged by majority voice votes. 18 of them were part of the erstwhile pro-tem executives, while 5 new members came on board, including the party's National Publicity Secretary. National Chairman Kayode Arimoro, in his acceptance speech, restates that Sustainable National Party is an ideological one owned by the people and welcome incorruptible people into its fold.
We the people reserve the responsibility to reverse the ugly trend and annex the hope for the good common man. Together we can. Together we must, Together we will, and the time is now.
Other executive members condemned the recent scale of defections by politicians, stressing that the development is not healthy for the growth of democracy. They implored desperate politicians to shun negative tendencies capable of overheating the polity, especially as another round of elections draw closer. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has continued his sensitization visits to media houses to drum up support for the ongoing national campaign against fake news. The minister was guest to the corporate headquarters of the authority newspaper in Abuja. Anthony Folson reports.
The minister was received on arrival by the managing director of the newspaper, Madu Onora. The minister told the editorial board of the organization that the national campaign against fake news has become necessary given the danger it portends as the country inches towards election.
Fake news is a clear and present danger to the peace and security, our democracy, and indeed the corporate existence of Nigeria. It is a time bomb waiting to run elections. In Nigeria, fake news is aggravating conflicts, especially the farmers-herders clash. Purveyors of fake news are also exploiting the country's fault lines, using religion and ethnicity to divide the country.
Adding that Nigeria cannot be an exception, as the opposition, he said, are bent on giving the present administration a bad image, hence their penchant for generating and sponsoring fake news to disinform the citizenry. He expressed particular appreciation to the Nigerian Television Authority, Radio Nigeria, News Agency of Nigeria, TV Continental, among some of the media organizations who are sponsoring the campaign. Responding to questions as they bordered on the state of the nation and the present government's resolve to deliver on its three core agenda, the minister explained the state of affairs as at May 29, 2015, what the administration met on ground and where it has taken the country to in all of the 3 points.
I want to call on us at TAGOP to do more than what they are doing now. And we're going to have a very, a much more secure state. I know some other states are taking the cue. I know Imo State is doing very well also in this respect. But you see, blaming every security, infraction on the federal government, I think it's the wrong way to go.
The managing director, Madu Onora, expressed appreciation for the minister's visit and pledged the organization's willingness to key in and support the campaign against fake news. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Artisanal miners across the nation are to undergo training before benefiting from federal government's financial assistance. To this end, the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development is meeting with all state ministries of mines and mineral resources to chart a way forward in Abuja. Mia Ogidi tells us more.
They lost lives and the environment also degrading. Yet they continue with the trade in order to make ends meet through crude processes. Many measures, including financial assistance, have been offered to this set of miners, yet no visible progress has been made in terms of environment friendliness.
These miners use inappropriate methods and very rudimentary tools to exploit mineral resources. In this method, very little attention is paid to the environment.
Top officials in the sector are therefore revisiting their modalities on how to organize the artisanal miners into groups at the state levels to be trained, as they constitute close to 80% of the mining population.
And we don't want to criminalize these people because we want to organize them, and for us to do that, we need to know from them exactly some of the challenges they are facing and the things we need to do to ensure that we have a smooth organization.
The ministry has a genuine intention to collaborate with the stakeholders, that we are out to see how this artisanal mining can be addressed.
To enforce compliance with this directive and other mining laws in the country, vehicle was donated to the Miners Association of Nigeria to complement the efforts of field officers of the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
Renewable energy has been identified as a critical source of energy which must be explored for sustainable development of key sectors in the country. This formed part of issues on the front burner at a 3-day top management retreat of the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing in Calabar. Maureen Leo Ajom reports.
With the top management brainstorming over several issues bordering on the power, works and housing sector, the retreat mapped out several ways forward for the sectors. These were contained in a communique presented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mohammed Bukar.
Government had directed on the need to ensure that the Bureau of Public Enterprises should be there, and the Nigerian bulk electricity traders adhere to the terms of contract agreement and performance bond so as to minimize technical and commercial losses, thereby increasing performance of the Nigerian electricity supply industry.
The retreat acknowledged the efforts of the Energy Commission of Nigeria and called for the development of energy research on renewable energy in Nigerian universities. Substantive recommendations on road construction and housing sectors were also made. The retreat had as its theme goal setting and goal reaching for a focused team. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
The Empower Skills and Competency Empowerment Program has since its inception empowered thousands of Nigerian youths in several sectors. Speaking on Good Morning Nigeria, participants in the Empower program described the initiative by the Buhari administration as a lifeline extended to the youth that contribute to national development. Ngufana Shaji reports.
Beneficiaries of the Empower Teachers Corps, Empower Agro and Empower Health, who narrated their experiences, described the initiative as a veritable opportunity for employment, as well as a good platform for empowerment to become employers of labor.
In my unit, where I was posted to at the Kuje Primary Health Center, we help in keeping the child's record. Anytime the child is brought to the hospital for immunization, we help the nurses there to keep the record of the child.
When I stand in front of the classes, I look at the student will just look at me. So I felt, can I do this? But along the line, I picked the courage and said, yes, I can do this.
Because I studied cooperatives and rural development, I decided to go into Agro. And 1 year, 8 months down the line, I can actually beat my chest and say, yes, I am a fulfilled person.
Senior Special Assistant to the President on Job Creation and Youth Empowerment says the program is intervening in public services and stimulating the larger economy, as the volunteers have been engaged in Empower software and Empower hardware, which are targeted at leveraging on the information technology potentials of the youth, who are known to have significant talent and potentials.
Program that was rolled out to immediately directly impact into the lives of ordinary Nigerians. Really, this is one program that has been assessed across, across various cadres, across various sectors, as one program that was very transparent. People did not have to know anyone. You just needed to be able to access the portal, follow the instructions, and you got into the program.
If they have devices that opens them to the world, it opens them up to limitless possibilities. Now, if the young man is telling you that in that device, he has models that would help him transfer knowledge to people in the community, you can never tell how far that will go.
After a 24-month program duration, the beneficiaries are expected to be self-reliant and recreate wealth from the knowledge gained through the Empower program. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
And still talking empowerment, 110 women, including youths, have completed a 10-week intensive training on skills acquisition and vocational trades in Benin City organized by the Nigerian Air Force Officers' Wives Association, NAFOA. Eugenia Ndobisi reports that each of the trainees received a certificate and starter pack to assist them at various skills and trades acquired.
The Nigerian Air Force Officers' Wives Association Skills Acquisition and Vocational Training Program is targeted at women, widows, and youth in the barracks and the surrounding communities to complement both state and federal government efforts in curbing unemployment. NAFOA President Hafsat Sadiq Abubakar said the training became necessary in order to build capacity among youth and women to make them self-reliant and able to cater for themselves in the changing economy.
NAFOA is basically a humanitarian organization where we touch lives positively and make the ladies.
I'm just so thankful to you for bringing this to Edo State especially, and also for even designing this for our country.
When skill acquisition and vocational training are combined with other forms of academic exploits, infinite options and veritable opportunities for employment emerge.
Best graduating students from different departments were rewarded by the association, as this marked the 7th edition of NAFOA Skills Acquisition and Vocational Training. In Benin, Eugenia Ndubisi, NTA News.
Senior Special Advisor or Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters appeals to legislators to reconvene for budget implementation. Details of these and more with Dotun in Lagos. Over to you, Dotun.
Thank you, Kene, and welcome to Lagos. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Senator Ita Enang, has appealed to the leadership of the National Assembly to reconvene to attend to issues pending before it. Senator Enang made the appeal while interacting with journalists at the Conference of Speakers of Nigeria in Lagos. Amaka Owo has details.
Senator Ita Enang said that members of the National Assembly have the right to proceed on recess, but nonetheless, as a matter of urgency, should endeavor to take steps to address matters affecting governance and not allow the country to suffer.
In fairness to the National Assembly, they did not deliberately keep these matters and went away.
That's the environment?
The environment, certain of the appointments, the supplementary budget, the borrowing plan, and so on. And then the INEC fund. They should please consider reconvening for the purpose of considering these urgent matters which are capable of making the government not perform and deliver on time.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Senator Enang, also said that defecting members of political parties are seeking suitable platforms for re-election and not necessarily doing so on the basis of issues relating to governance.
If you listen to each of the statements that have been made by the persons moving from one political party to the other, talking about things about themselves, either what they go through or what they will want to do. None of them is complaining about the executive's treatment of their constituents or their states or other things.
He added that President Muhammadu Buhari is committed to following due process for the common good of all citizens of the country. In Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
A multi-sectional partnership tagged Alliance for Epidemic Preparedness and Response has been launched in Lagos by the Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale. The project, a collaboration between Private Sector Alliance of Nigeria and Nigerian Center for Disease Control, is aimed at enhancing Nigeria's ability to prevent, detect, respond, and control disease outbreak. Joyken Abakuya has details.
The 2014 Ebola outbreak, the response and the role of both the public and private organizations in containing the epidemic brought to the fore the importance of partnership, especially in the health sector. The Alliance for Epidemic Preparedness and Response Project is an opportunity for government to involve the private sector in preventing and managing disease outbreaks.
We want to really benefit from the efficiency, the result-oriented approach of the private sector and the resources available in the private sector.
They have all sorts of capabilities with supply chain management. Those are the assets they can bring on board for us to be able to achieve the objectives of protecting Nigerians.
Director General, Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu, says over 4 billion naira is expected to be raised by the partnership to improve infrastructure, direct response, and emergency stockpile in the nation's disease control sector.
It's really something that we have to collectively come together. And we know we can do it because we saw it happen during the Ebola outbreak, but we want to do it in a more proactive way.
And we're excited that with over 55 companies and corporates that have committed to being part of this alliance.
Panelists at the forum lauded the initiative, which they say, if sustained, will reduce the burden of infectious diseases and epidemics. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboya, NTA News.
Lagos State has for long been faced with a number of environmental challenges, of which have been attributed to waste generation and disposal processes. It has remained almost impossible for Waste Management Authority to manage the volume by the city's over 17 million residents. In this report, Ken Igbeluge takes a look at measures by successive administrations of the state to effectively tackle this menace.
Lagos is a paradox in many respects. It is the state with the smallest landmass in the country, yet the most populated. Lagos is Nigeria's commercial nerve center. This edge is partly responsible for the prosperity of the city. However, as much as its population constitutes a great strength in terms of human and economic resources, it also suffers the attendant consequences that trail overpopulated megacities. Generation of waste has remained on the increase and has defied so many solutions in spite of government constantly devising appropriate and efficient waste management mechanisms meant to enhance a cleaner, safer, and healthier environment. The present administration in the state, just like the previous ones, have to a large extent reduced the indiscriminate dumping of refuse in the city. Despite the continuous effort by the government to rid the city of waste, the eyesore has persisted. A drive through major routes like Mushi, Isolo, Surulere, Yaba, and environs confirms the situation.
The dodging is too much sometimes. Sometimes you reach the main road for the car parties.
People used to drop dustbin here, maybe in the midnight. When we come here in the morning, we just meet a lot of dustbin here.
While the state government says it is making conscious efforts to rid Lagos of refuse, residents in the state suggest that there is need for government to intensify its surveillance approach.
We beg Lagos State to give us better security for these two places so that we will not be a dirtiness.
Like this thing is supposed to be bigger one, like two, so that contain the waste. Because they are close to Ingbohon, all this area now here they blend dirty.
While the Lagos State dream of attaining the status of megacity, Lagosians have the view that actions such as indiscriminate dumping of refuse in unauthorized places should be addressed for that ambition to be realized. In Lagos, Ken Igbeluge, NTA News.
Federal government tasked Northern State government on poverty reduction. Let's join Rikia in Kaduna for details of this and more.
Thank you, Dotun, and welcome to Kaduna Network Center. The federal government is engaging northern state governments towards providing a comprehensive template to curtail the level of poverty in the region. This step is in response to research findings which place the north ahead of other parts of the country in poverty indices. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
Statistics shows that Nigeria has the highest maternal and infant mortality rate. It also accounts of more than 10 million out-of-school children, and sizable number of its population are living below poverty line. Out of these, North accounts for about 80% of the entire problems. For instance, Kano State is grappling with about 3 million children who have no access to formal education. Therefore, stakeholders from the northern state, in collaboration with Federal Ministry of Budget and Planning, met in Kano to provide lasting and sustainable solution to the problem. Minister of State, Budget and Planning, Zainab Ahmed, said the Buhari administration is concerned with the poverty level not only in the north, but the country as a whole.
We know the state governments are spending a lot of resources for social protection, so is the federal government. But UNICEF has indicated that it has funds that it wants to use to support the state governments for child protection programs.
Special advisor to the President on Social Investment Program, Mariam Wesu, said fighting poverty is a collective effort, hence the need for Northern State to key into the federal government renewal impetus to arrest the situation.
We have to look at how we can support our women, our girls, educate them, ensure that they are old enough and ready enough for marriage so that they don't get upset and walk out.
The country representative of the United Nations Children Education Fund, UNICEF, Mohammed Fall, stressed the need for Nigeria to bridge the gap of inequalities in income and opportunities among citizenry. In Kano, Mohammed Rabiwali, NTA News.
Coordinators of the federal government cash transfer under the social investment policy of the Buhari administration have held a review meeting in Dutse, the Jigawa state capital, ahead of the next phase of implementation. Awal Muhammad Kazawi reports that they described the program as a success in the zone.
Fulfillment of its campaign promise, the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari commenced the payment of 5,000 monthly stipends targeted at supporting 1 million of the most vulnerable and poorest Nigerians under the social investment scheme. In Jigawa State, almost 40,000 identified vulnerable people in the society from 9 local government areas are benefiting from the scheme. The national coordinator of the program, Dr. Temi Tope Sinkaye, says the Northwest Zonal Training is to harmonize data into the national database.
We had done it before, but we found out there are some challenges. Everything is electronic now, and then including the payments, is going to be electronic, so we need an electronic system to be able to achieve the transparency and level of efficiency and accountability that the program requires.
We have various cash transfer programs in place. We have the disability grant, which about 4 billion naira has been expended by Jigawa State government from the inception of the program to date.
Preparations have reached advanced stage for the second phase of the program. Awal Muhammad, NTA News.
The Nigerian Defense Academy says it will continue to provide the necessary manpower training for the Nigerian military to carry out its mandate of protecting the territorial integrity of the country against internal and external aggressions. Deputy Commandant of the Academy, Air Commodore Adu Baba Inua, stated this during battle inoculation and firepower demonstration for the 55th Regular Corps Army and 56th Regular Corps Air Force and Navy at Table Hill, Kachia. Ibrahim Belagunda tells us more.
Battle inoculation and firepower demonstration is the last in the series of activities of Camp Highland aimed at shaping the cadets in physical combat, leadership, resilience, professionalism, and real-life war situation. Special guest of honor and Deputy Commandant, Nigerian Defense Academy, Air Commodore Ado Baba Inwas said the Academy is producing highly trained military officers in line with best global practice with knowledge of current security challenges confronting the country.
The training has really been transformed to ensure that contemporary issues now that are bedeviling the country, once they become officers, they can face the challenges.
Director Military Training, Brigadier General Sani Muhammad says the cadets have been trained on rules of engagement, respect for human rights and dignity, aside from the usual military training, and are ready for their passing out scheduled for September this year. In Kaduna, Ibrahim Bello Gunda, NTA News.
And that's it from Kaduna. It's back to Kenya in Abuja for more stories on Nationwide.
Thank you, Rukaya. It's time now for a commercial break. NTA Nationwide continues shortly. Stay tuned.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt
that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
The 2018 World Cup has come and gone, but Nigeria's participation, performance and conduct remain on the front burner. Tuesday Live this week examines Nigeria's participation and matters arising therefrom. It promises to be incisive, educative and informative. Don't miss it.
When you think about hospitality and affordable luxury away from home, then you talk about Sharon Ultimate Hotels, a secured and serene environment that offers kingly services such as 24-hour room service, impeccable security with CCTV surveillance, parking lots, free Wi-Fi internet service, free complimentary breakfast, restaurants that offers continental and local dishes, well-equipped fitness center with instructors, swimming pool, 350 capacity multi-purpose hall, laundry service, pastry corner, mini mart, and our suites are breathtaking. For reservation, locate us at plot 1710 Tafawa Balewa Way, Area 3, Garikia, Abuja. Sharon Ultimate Hotels, the ultimate place.
HQ Barbers is an institution.
Your children are letting people leave without paying. Without idiots. I've been a good man after all these years.
A good loyal husband. To me or to the shop.
I want someone who will not just be my husband, but also be my friend.
But we're not friends.
What do you mean we're not friends?
Customer service. Since when did sick people become customers?
What happened here?
Benny Mama.
And stop searching. It's for lazy people. Then what should I have done? Slap the man and taking the money from him?
Yes!
Yes!
You are under arrest for assaulting a police officer.
Pass me the remote.
No. True that, and there can be one.
Bon appetit, everybody.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Nationwide. Nigerian pilgrims in the Holy Land are enjoying a taste of home cooking thanks to an arrangement made by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. Musa Abubakar reports from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
It is estimated that over 1 million people visit Saudi Arabia for the annual Umrah and Hajj pilgrimage every year. The annual Hajj exercise is a time when Saudi Arabia's economy records high economic activities, particularly in the area of accommodation, food, and transportation, fetching the country millions of dollars in earnings. The period not only provides opportunities for the citizens of the country, but other nationalities residing in Medina and Mecca. While Saudi laws require their indigenous food catering companies to cook for Nigerian pilgrims, the National Hajj Commission made it possible in their contract with licensed service providers to engage Nigerians.
There are a certain number of indigenous that are required to be in those kitchens.
Shoaib Muhammad and Ahmed Muhammad, along with 5 other Nigerians living in Medina, are among the lucky ones that have secured a job with this food company.
Ga wannan aikin da nake ma 'yan uwana 'yan Najeriya, muna so duk wanda ya ci wannan abincin ya ji ya masa daidai dan su yaba da shi.
Ya aikin bakin mu in na gama aikin bakacin suna biki mutanen mu sun yi biki ni nake dafa musu in wani sun zo da waje ma in sun na sauna muka alƙawari da su shi kan dauka mu je wannan mu bikin mu gama shi yin kowa ta inda yake.
as the Saudi authorities step up effort to achieve the Vision 2030, which will improve pilgrim experience, more windows of opportunity may likely open for more Nigerians. From Saudi Arabia, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Nigerians have been advised to be committed to the success of the 2019 general election. Archbishop of the Catholic Diocese of Abuja, John Cardinal Onaeko, gave the advice at the investiture of Knights of St. Mulumba, Abuja Metropolitan Council. Ifeanyi Ezumba was there.
The structure of the Order of Knights of St. Mulumba is to transform the candidate being initiated to a new state of life where they can help move the society and effect positive change. The Archbishop of Abuja pointed out that the success of the 2019 general elections required the collective support of all Nigerians.
And that is where I challenge our Knights, that Nigerians are looking for a new kind of politics, and that the Knights have the clout and the numbers, as well as the ideology. But I'm asking them to be part and parcel of the effort to spearhead a new kind of politics. Politics that means service of the people.
The Grand Knights promised to use their wealth of experience in the betterment of mankind.
The Knights of St. Mulumba and Nigerians of goodwill should rise up to think positively about what can be done in our shaking democracy.
We should choose people who will be pro-public, who will be pro-Nigerian, who will have interest and love of Nigeria at heart.
We are for Christ, and we are to defend Christ, and we are to be for Christ, and we are for Christ and Christ alone.
The Order of the Knights of St. Mulumba was established in Nigeria on June 1953. Highlights of the occasion were prayers for the leadership of the country and the sustenance of existence of Nigeria. In Abuja, Ifeanyi Ezumba, NTA News.
Now, towards reducing road crashes in Nigeria, leadership of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, has urged all road users to support the union and other policymakers in the transport sector. The request was made at the special Thanksgiving service to mark its 40 years anniversary at the National Christian Center, Abuja. Adebola Brusklin Sunday reports.
The convergence of members here marks the climax of the one-week-long celebration. With joy and gladness, members then proceeded to the altar in appreciation to God and pray for a greater and accident-free Nigeria. Pastor in charge, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, City of David, Abuja, Bolade Okela, admonished them to remain focused and put their trust in God.
On behalf of the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, who has sent his greetings and congratulatory message as well, that the Almighty God will keep them and guide them.
We ban selling of alcoholic things and anything, drugs. They are not selling it at the motor parks.
We are ready to accommodate so many people. Let them go to our unit, some of our units, and go and read their complaint there. We implore them. We will train them with our own money and we give them vehicle to end living for their self and their family.
Established in 1978, the union now has about 3 million members. Adebola Brusklin Sunday, NTA News.
Outbreak of Lassa fever in Enugu claims 1 life as Governor Obiano condoles victims of flood disaster. Onome in Enugu brings us up to speed with details. Hello, Onome.
Hello, Kene, and welcome to Enugu. Enugu State has recorded 1 confirmed case of Lassa fever. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Ek, who confirmed this to NTA News crew, assured the public that the ministry is on top of the case to stop the spread of the disease. Susan Eze has the details.
stating that the patient with a confirmed case of Lassa fever is already dead. Dr. Fintan said the Enugu State Ministry of Health is already taking action to contain the situation.
What should be done has already been done in regards of contact tracing, active search, and continued surveillance. As we speak, we have reached out to all those that had low level, medium level, and high level contact with these patients before the patient died. And the needful is already being done with respect to giving drugs to prevent active disease in those who had high exposure. And for the contact tracing, it's actually a continuous process, and we're doing that.
As a proactive measure, he said the ministry had established an isolation center for treatment of patients with universal precautionary measures with respect to health workers and relations safety. He noted that the ministry, in collaboration with the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, established an emergency operations center, the 6th in the country. It is an ICT hub that allows for electronic sharing of information among health caregivers on any case in hand nationally.
The way we keep food is so important. Food should be kept safe from rats. In fact, rats shouldn't come into our homes. That's one basic thing. And if you eat outside your homes, be aware and sure that whoever is handling food for you, or processing or cooking food, preparing food, does the needful with respect to avoiding contamination by rats.
To strengthen the hospital in case of emergencies, he stated that the government has embarked on infection prevention control measures in addition to what is already on ground. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Meanwhile, more than 5 persons have lost their lives to splash flood in Anambra State following a downpour that lasted more than 3 days in the state. Uchenna Nwokoyo reports that the state governor, Willie Obiano, visited the families of the deceased across the state.
The communities affected by the ugly incident include Anako in Ayamelum Council area of the state, where a pregnant woman drowned with her daughter trying to fetch firewood in a farm in the area.
The little girl strayed and fell into this canal, being prepared for irrigation for the Koskaris farms, and before any help could come, they were all drowned.
Other areas include Obaru village, Igbariam in Anambra, where splash current carried a man while trying to save his motorcycle. At Nteje, a young man also lost his life to flood following a heavy downpour. Governor Obiano, while condoling with the victims, advised them not to go into running water while it is raining. He also advised them to imbibe the culture of clearing the drainages for free flow of water.
I want to advise people, whenever it is raining and you see flash flood, and it moves with velocity, even if you see the shallow drainage, don't go in there.
Governor Obiano also visited Otolo Newi, where the body of a young man said to have been carried by flowing water is yet to be recovered. The state chief executive also consoled with the family of a 14-year-old Savior Ebube Samuel, who drowned in Obibia stream, Amobia, in Oka South Council area of the state, when a car conveying her and her siblings was swept into the river by current. From Oka, Uchenna Nwokoyo, NTA News.
Youth Corps members serving across the states in Nigeria have been assured of their safety during their service year. The Director General, NYSC, Brigadier General Suleiman Kazaure, gave the assurance when he visited Umunya, the Anambra State Orientation Camp. Daniel Ubai has the details.
The Director General was at Umunya for an on-the-spot assessment of the facilities being used by the Corps members. The facilities inspected include the camp clinic, kitchen, and the hostels. At the end, the DG was satisfied with the level of cleanliness and the conduct of Corps members.
All is to make our own assessment. We have our parameters we consider. But from what I've seen, the camp is very good, it's excellent.
Earlier, Brigadier General Sule Zachary Kazaure advised the Corps members to take advantage of the various trainings at the camp that will make them self-reliant, bearing in mind that white-collar jobs are not easy to come by. He said the Nigerian Army and other security agencies are prepared to ensure adequate protection of their lives and property.
if also you follow what we are doing, you know, the problem we are facing is post-camp training. After the orientation camp, they have problem of this safe training. But to handle that, we decided now to establish 6 skill acquisition center in the 6 geopolitical zones.
The temporary NYSC orientation camp at Umunya, which is as old as Anambra State, was adjudged the neatest in Nigeria by the visiting DG. From Umunya in Oyi local government area of Anambra State, Daniel Okbai, NTA News.
Republic of Korea inaugurates project worth $5 million. Let's get more from Naomi in our Maiduguri studio. Over to you, Naomi.
Thank you, Onome, and welcome to Maiduguri. South Korean government has inaugurated $5 billion project and in partnership with UNFPA presented medical equipment and facilities to Borno State government towards fostering resilience and provision of basic medical services for women and girls in the state. The occasion, which took place at the Government House Maiduguri, also coincided with the inauguration of Obstetric Fistula Operating Theatre at the Maiduguri State Specialist Hospital, funded by the Canadian government in partnership with UNFPA. Muhammad Goni reports.
The goal of the initiative is to build resilient communities through the restoration of access to basic medical and social services in conflict-affected communities. The project's specific objectives include increased access to comprehensive maternal and child health care, increased access to fistula care, and improved capacity for result-based data management system. Governor Kashim Shettima, who inaugurated the renovated and equipped obstetric fistula operating theater, expressed gratitude to the donor countries, especially the Republic of Korea, Canadian government, and UNFPA, and appealed for more support to Borno in view of what the state had gone through.
It is pertinent to mention that women and children bore the brunt of this madness called Boko Haram. I have all the statistics.
Korean ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Lee In-tai, said the project was a product of excellent cooperation between the Republic of Korea, UNFPA, Nigerian and Borno State government, and expressed commitment of his government to the right to reproductive health and access to a wide range of reproductive and sexual health services for women and girls. Canadian Acting Ambassador Emily Murray stressed the commitment of her government of continued support to efforts in the Northeast and Lake Chad region through humanitarian assistance, including reproductive health for women and girls. The United Nations Population Fund is the link between the partners providing support for the execution of the health intervention. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Borno State Ministry of Women Affairs has reunited some women and young girls captured during demolition of brothels within Maiduguri metropolis by a committee set up by the state government with their parents and guardians. Abubakar Muhammad Musa reports.
The 34 women and young girls are leaders of brothels in Maiduguri who were caught by the committee set up by Borno State government on demolition of commercial sex houses. Addressing the women and girls before handing them over to their families, Borno State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Fanta Babashew, said the victims have received psychosocial support and counseling in addition to skill acquisition training for 2 months as directed by Governor Kashim Shettima.
We have registered them. We have the pictures and also the addresses of their homes and their relatives that came today to pick them. And for the larger public, and you know, it's a girl child. Most of them are underage. So what I will ask them is to assist them.
Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Women Affairs and Social Development, Yayat Nkoli, and some directors of the ministry enjoined the women to consider themselves as agents of change, thereby disseminating the disadvantages of engaging in immoral acts. Each of the rehabilitated person was presented with assorted clothing materials and a reasonable amount of money to start up a business. The beneficiaries expressed gratitude to the state government for transforming their lives positively and assured to justify the trust reposed in them. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Muhammad Musa, NTA News.
And that does it from here. Is back to Kene in Abuja.
Thanks, Naomi. Let's pause for another break. More news when we return.
Fake news which is shared for malicious purposes is a danger to our peace and security in Nigeria. Misinformation as fake news is a serious threat to our hard-earned democracy and promotes hatred and misunderstanding between our communities. We are all responsible for stopping the spread of fake news in its tracks So, always check the source and credibility of any news item. Say no to fake news. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Human leader! I'll transfer 100,000. Everybody wait!
You don't make me to follow your lane. I like how you do. I want to make you follow me play. The bumper shining in the light, shining. You'll be a light, flashy. You make me go want to go naughty. I take you around the world, my baby. Oh, hey, baby, yeah. Ah, baby, you pull over. Baby, you pull over. Reverse, baby, you pull over. Show me your particulars as they pull over. Yeah, baby, you pull over. It not like here as they pull over. Yeah, baby, you pull over. Jamie don't like to dance. Me, I like to dance. Jamie don't like to shake. Me, I like to shake. Oh, you one and I want to the center. You know Jamie's there for your matter. All I tell all the friends, I guess. I just keep that ball your song. Come on back.
Welcome back. Time now to bring you highlights of stories making the rounds on the international scene. Uche Ugochukwu is our guide.
Hello there. The African Union Commission has described the violence that followed Zimbabwe's presidential election as unfortunate. The chairperson of the commission, Mirza Faki Mohammed, says the commission welcomes the commitment of the Zimbabwean authorities to investigate these incidents. He appealed to the political actors to rise above their differences and work together to ensure peace, stability, and development in their country. Meanwhile, in Mali, 3 candidates have launched legal challenges disputing the result of last week's presidential election. A second-round runoff is due on Sunday after incumbent President Ibrahim Keita took 41.4% of the vote. The second, third, and fourth-place candidates filed a case alleging that boxes were stuffed and other irregularities. The president of South Sudan and head of the country's main rebel group have signed a final ceasefire and power-sharing agreement to hail a new era of peace in the country. The president, Salva Kiir, in a statement, said the agreement which have been signed should be the end of war and conflicts in the country. Finally, over 10,000 people have been evacuated on the Indonesian island of Lombok after a 6.9 magnitude quake left more than 90 people dead. 8 agencies said there is an emergency to provide shelter for residents who are scared to return to their homes. That concludes this package. I am Uche Ugochukwu. The news continues.
Up next is Sports Update.